Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hey, how
Oh,
you doing? Yeah,
yeah.
I can.
Yeah, cool. It
I'm
actually works. I'm highly impressed. Thanks very much. Thanks very much, by the way. Cool.
all
Uh,
good, all good.
Anyway, I'm Will. Nice to meet you. Ebony,
Nice to meet you
FaceBoxers.
too.
Okay, cool. So yeah. So how was Australia treating you?
It's good. I mean, can't complain over here. We've got it pretty good over here. So
What with the
yeah,
COVID
it's good.
19? Wait, I know you're
Yeah, I mean,
with
yeah, we
being a
have
school teacher and everything. Then.
yeah. Well, I'm in school holidays now. We have our summer break, so well, it goes back. I go back to school next week. But
Right.
yeah. I mean, it hasn't been too bad here when you compare, like, if you compare it to the rest of the world.
Right. Okay.
Like, so
But you're not on
definitely
lockdown.
not. No,
And
our
so
borders
I'm
are
trying to set the
closed.
scene for myself so I can get a bit of the mise en scène
Yeah.
of what everything is where you are.
Yeah, so our borders are all closed, so we can't travel interstate or overseas, obviously.
Yeah.
But other than that, well, they just started making us wear mandatory masks in certain areas where there's high traffic and stuff, just because of COVID cases. But I mean, we're getting like 10, 15 cases a day in the whole country.
Right. Okay.
So,
So
I mean, 10 COVID cases a day in a whole country, and most of them are in quarantine coming from overseas. I mean, I don't think we need to be that concerned here. But,
right. Okay.
Australia is quite over the top. And I suppose that's the reason why we are able to be where we are with it all, and be actually living a pretty normal life. So,
So it's not too bad. But
no.
if you go, no, it's terrible. We're on pure
Yeah,
lockdown.
yeah. Like, honestly, I can't say much because obviously America, UK, Brazil, like, Europe, like, it's really, really bad. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much to say about it here compared.
How has that affected your training then? Because you were saying you were boxing training the other day. Has it affected the gyms at all? Have they been closed?
No, nothing. No.
Ah, so you can do whatever you want. Right. So
Yeah, it hasn't affected.
right. So
There's
all the
nothing.
gym.
Yep, everything's open. I think there was about 2 months at the beginning of last year where they closed the gyms. We had about 2 months of lockdown, but school was still open and stuff. I was still going to work. It was just gyms and only essential places were open. But I don't think that was even for 2 months. I feel like it was maybe to be honest, maybe 4 or 5 weeks. It wasn't even
Right.
that big. Yeah, I mean, it hasn't really affected anything for me. I'm sure it has affected some other people or some other businesses that had to shut down, all like bars and clubs and restaurants, because um, there was a lot of restrictions on numbers and stuff, and like weddings and funerals and all that kind of stuff got cancelled because of limits of people. I think I don't know if it's still I don't know if it's still valid, but I know that they were at one point saying only 5 people um, to visit a household.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like, for me, I go home, I go to the gym. I don't really get caught up in the whole COVID thing. I just do my thing and I
You're
just be
still in the
safe. And
boxing frame of mind.
yeah, I mean, to me, it doesn't concern me unless the gym's closed and I can't spar. It doesn't really concern me because I don't socialize, I don't go out, and I don't do any of that stuff. Like, I'm just gym home, gym home. So yeah,
That's your daily. That's the daily life of Ebony Bridges. That's your routine. So
yeah, pretty
what's
much. I train 3 times a day. So
do you? Ah, so you start really early afternoon and then in the evening. Right.
yeah, yeah,
It's hardcore.
I get up and I do fasted cardio, and then I go box, and then I come back and I do strength and conditioning.
Right.
I'm in the evenings, or like a harder run, sprints and stuff.
How do you find that in conjunction with doing your teaching and everything?
When I'm teaching, I probably only train 3 times a day, like 2 times a week.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, when I'm teaching, I always train before and after school, no matter what. It just sucks because I don't get to rest between my sessions. Instead, I'm rushing around to school and getting ready and rushing to training after school traffic, and then I'm at school all day, like, non-stop. So it's just not. I'm not getting the recovery as well, or go go go. But I don't really notice it, and I don't notice it while I'm in school because I'm so used to it. But now, because I've had 6 weeks off and I'm school holidays and I'm doing it like this, now when I go back to school, it's going to be like, ugh, here we go. But it won't take me
I
too long to get back into it.
got you. So you got to get back into. What's the Ebony
Yeah.
Bridges game plan then? Matchroom, UK, what's the master plan? What have you got inside you? How do you envision it going?
Yeah, like obviously, I want to fight in the UK.
Yeah.
My main goal, my original goal was just to fight in front. It's crazy, you know, because the reason I kind of targeted the UK last year was because I love British fans. I just think they're amazing. They're the best fans. Like, so I was like, I want these fans. I want to fight in front of these crowds. And it's crazy because that time that I mentioned that I want to do that, now there's no fucking crowds. I just can't believe it. I'm like, fuck, like the whole reason I'm, you know, is to fight in front of the crowds. Like, obviously I want to fight as well, but yeah, I'm sure we'll get there. But, you know, until then, just keep building my name and keep getting those fans on board. And once they see me fight, it'll be a different story. You know, like they've got some fights that they could see, old fights. But a lot of things happen in a year. You know, I've only been fighting for, you know, 4 and a bit years. And the improvements, you know, you think about someone that just started as a novice 4 years ago to where I am now. Imagine like a whole year, like a quarter of that training, how much better I'm going to get. If the exponential increase of how much I've, you know, improved over 4 years, then 1/4 of that, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I just know that what I'm going to bring into my next fight is like, obviously a similar style, but just so much more refined, so much better. I just feel so much better all around. And I think, and I hope that my opponents, are looking at my old fights and judging me on that, which they will be because they don't have anything else to
Because
look
you've
at, really.
improved so much in comparison.
Yeah, they have no
So
fucking
if
clue.
they try and do the homework, it doesn't mean anything.
Oh, they can do the homework and they can try and look at my things and my weaknesses, but I don't have none of that shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, plus once you get hit, it all goes to shit anyways, and that's what always happens. So,
right.
That's how I do, and now it's even better. So, yeah.
Sorry. How do you know when you were saying you like the euphoria of being in the crowd and everything? How does it actually feel yourself being there, doing it real life, bashing someone, and you've got everyone watching you, and you're the epicenter of the attention? How does it feel?
It's amazing. I mean, I don't really notice it when I'm in the ring. When I'm in the ring, I'm just focused on my opponent. But walking out, you know, to the big crowd and stuff, like I was born for this shit. Like I love it. I embrace it. I get nervous a little bit out the back. Like I think it's pretty normal. I think to get a little bit nervous, but it's not a bad nerves. It's like, it's just that adrenaline, if anything, I suppose. Like the reason we do it, it's an adrenaline thing. Like if you didn't have the nerves, you didn't have that kind of feeling, I think it would take the adrenaline out of it, if that makes sense. So you need to have a little bit of that.
Does it make you feel alive?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely.
Is the buzz? Is it the buzz, the kick of doing it?
Sorry?
Is it the buzz? Is it the kick of doing it? When I watch boxing, it brings me to life. I feel it's the sport which I'm into. Okay, for whatever reason, what I enjoy doing, it's my passion. For you, is it your passion, or is it just like?
No, definitely. I like fucking bashing the shit out of people. Like I've always been like that.
Why?
I don't know, because it feels mad. It feels good.
Right, okay. No, because I saw
like
it. Go on.
Yeah. Like I don't know. That's just why I decided to box. Like I like fighting. I like fighting. I'm a big fan of boxing. I've been a fan of boxing since I was young, like a kid. So I'm like, yeah, like let me get in there and bash some people up and fucking hit people. And I love the feeling on my knuckles on their skulls. I love the feeling of seeing their faces fucking, you know, scrunch up when I punch them or look like they're gonna cry. Like I like that shit.
Right, fair enough.
Me a sadist, maybe.
No.
I like getting paid for it.
Yeah, fair play. No, it's interesting for me. But like you said in one of your other interviews that you're slightly crazy. How in what way are you crazy? What's
crazy? You know, I don't know how I'm crazy. I suppose, I think, compared to maybe a lot of other fighters, especially female fighters, I mean, I get a lot of. It's funny, like when I was an amateur, I had a lot of the girls in like my state and stuff with, like, Ebony, you don't always have to like just be hurting people and stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing boxing for? I'm here to fucking hurt people and knock them out. Like, I'm not here to fucking play games. Why the fuck else don't you box? Like, I don't get it. What's the point? Like, if you're not there to like smash them up.
Fair
I don't get it, you know.
So you're the real deal and you into it, right? When
But
you
I mean,
come,
I do it for that reason. Well, I would love to see my opponents on the ground. Like, obviously, I don't want them to be fucking like hurt bad. Like, as in that I can't continue a career or anything like that. Like, I don't wish that kind of thing. I don't want to put someone
yeah.
in their deathbed. But yeah, I mean, of course,
What's it like knocking someone out? What's it feel like?
it's good. I do it I've done it quite a few times in sparring. I broke a girl's jaw in sparring.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was actually a friend, and unfortunately ruined her boxing career. She had to get her jaw all screwed up and everything like that. No, at the time it felt good. Then after it, I felt really, really bad. And
Right. Okay.
I don't like hurting. Like, I don't like hurting my friends and stuff in sparring. Like, but it's part of the sport, I suppose, and it's a risk you take in the sport. And yeah, feels good, I suppose. I mean, in a fight, like when you stop a fight early, you don't get paid overtime. No matter how long you're in there, you still get paid exactly the same. So why the fuck drag it out? Get it done, get the job done, and go home.
Right. Okay. Well, you've got a lot. Would you say you're a forward and attacking fighter because you've got a lot of
Yeah,
power?
definitely.
Right. Okay. Could you run us
I'm
through
powerful.
big time? Could you run us through the Laura Woods fight? Because that's one that springs out to mind.
Yeah, that was my first fight. I came back after my first fight, I snapped my ankle in my first debut fight, and then I had 8 months out where I was in recovery from that. I couldn't walk for 3 months. I had to learn how to walk again. And then I was in intensive rehab after that for another couple of months, and then I managed obviously to get back in the ring. And 8 months after the initial injury, 2 surgeries later, to that fight, and I mean, she was tough, man. Like, I was like, how is she not like she was a New
She
Zealander in New
kept going,
Zealand.
didn't she?
She's Maori New Zealander, and they're known to have they're like Mexicans, like they just have solid heads, And she was so tough, and have a lot of respect for her because no one would fight me here in Australia, so we had to get her over.
Wow.
And she came and fought, and yeah, I mean, that was a good fight. But again, I just coming back from my ankle injury, and I was trying to learn. Because from my first fight, it was hard because my first fight obviously I fought with a snapped ankle, but I was still very like just letting my hands go and like not like rushing and stuff. But I did that a lot because obviously my ankle was snapped, and I was just like, if I don't stop, if I just keep punching, then I don't think about my ankle. So that my first fight was a bit like that. Then my second fight, I'm like, okay, I want to calm the fuck down and just pick my shots a little bit better. But then yeah, I mean, you get amongst it, and I like a fight and I like a brawl, and sometimes I can't help myself.
Right.
Yeah, no, it was a good fight. I mean, they probably could have stopped it earlier. I nearly knocked her out in the first round. I actually thought she was going to get a count because the ropes saved her with the shot. She went like when I knocked her down into the ropes, but the bell went. So I think the ref just saved the count and just let her go to the corner.
Fair play. Your drawings, how have you always been? Has that been from a young age, or? Because I saw it on your page,
Yeah.
like people inspire you draw them. So could you tell FaceBoxers?
Yeah, I do.
Sorry,
Yeah,
my
I
audience
draw,
is FaceBoxers. Go on.
Yeah. Yeah, I love drawing. I only picked it up again. I drew when I was a lot younger, before my teens. So when I was really young. And then I didn't do it I really didn't do fuck all drawing really, except like making cards for people and stuff, until I snapped my ankle. So when I snapped my ankle that in 2019, I was housebound because I couldn't put any weight on my legs. So I was in crutches 24/7. So I couldn't drive, I couldn't go anywhere. And I went from working 3 jobs, studying full time, training twice a day, traveling 5 hours a day, to being stuck at home, not being able to do fuck all.
I know.
So yeah, I mean, so yeah, I just so that's when like the lockdown happened. I was like, oh yeah, I've been here before, except last time I couldn't even fucking train. I'm stuck at home, but I mean, like this time at least I can train. I couldn't do anything, so yeah, I just started drawing just to kill time, and yeah.
So you've picked out specific people that you've drawn though. So you've got like Eddie Hearn, you've got the Dog Destroyer. What do you think of Nigel Benn? What do you think of the Dog Destroyer? What's your opinion on him? Because he lives in Australia, doesn't he?
Yeah, he lives around the corner from me.
Oh right, cool.
So yeah, literally like 5 minutes from my house. He's trained me quite a few times. I'm really good friends with his daughter, with Connor's twin, India. The whole family's beautiful, the Benns, and Nigel's so humble and down to earth, and he's just so giving and helpful here in Australia. Like he works with the church and stuff, and he's just he's a really beautiful soul, and like I mean the whole family are just really amazing, kind people. So yeah, no, he's good. He told me in 2019 when he was doing pads with me that I'd be world champion. He said to me, he goes, Like when I punched the mitts, he stopped and he was like, I can't believe, he goes, wow. He goes, you hit like a man. He goes, sorry, like no offense, like don't take offense, but damn, you hit like a man. He goes, you can be a world champion. But he did say you need a bit more finesse. You know, Nigel is, but and he said that to me and that stuck with me. And I'm like, fuck, if Nigel thinks I could be a world champion, then
Wicked.
Pretty good. Yeah. So I am going to be a world champion.
Go for it. Spot on.
Obviously, Nigel. I mean, I've drawn French on Dezerme was the first female that I've drawn. I love her. She inspires me because she's been through so much and she doesn't quit. And she lost her mum, and just the stuff that she gets thrown at her all the time. She manages to turn things into positives all the time and keep upbeat and kind and stuff. So I love that about her. She's a really good example, I think, of a really strong woman. So yeah, her, and then I know other, Sean Porter's one of my favorites. Sean Porter's one of my favorite fighters, so I drew him because he's one of my favorite fighters. Dillian White, I love him, how real he is, and he's outspoken and just keeps it real. Eddie Hearn, obviously, because the shit he's doing for women's boxing. I was like, you know what, this guy's all right. He's doing some right things. So I thought, I'd draw him. And he was actually, I think he was the first white guy that I drew. Usually dog, but yeah. So yeah. Anyways, there's heaps of drawings, but yeah.
Joshua versus Fury. If you could wave a magic wand, would you like to get on the undercard of that fight? Because it's like,
of course, who wouldn't?
I know that's my dream as well, to like get to that fight, whatever kind of thing. But how do you see the fight going down, and where would you like it to be based?
Man, I can't see that fight. I can't pick that fight, Like, I find it really hard when I think about that fight, I find it really hard to envision how it will go. Obviously, Fury will be boxing on the I think Fury will be boxing on the outside. But, I mean, look, Joshua has, what do you call it? Downfalls, or whatever you call it, weaknesses. Like, obviously, I think he's a little bit weak in the chin. His defense gets a little bit shitty when he gets in exchanges, but at the same time, he improves every single fight. And that's what I really like about AJ, is that he just gets better and better, and he fixes things each time he fights. And you see different added to the toolbox, a bit like Canelo, you know what I mean? Like, can't compare them exactly, but what I'm saying is you can see the improvements with AJ. So then we've seen Tyson Fury against Wilder with his new coach, and how he just dismantled Wilder. So that's a new Fury as well. So it's really hard for me to pick.
I think they've both developed as fighters, and they're both in the prime now. At their age, they're just like. Sorry, I think
that's right. I think my cat's come in the door. That's all.
Oh, right. Okay, cool. I think they're both ripe and ready to go, so it has to happen this year, kind of like thing.
Yeah, I think that. I think it will happen. Definitely, I think they'll make it happen. I mean, hopefully.
Do you think it matters on the location of the fight? Because it's likely that it's going to.
I think it has to be in the UK. Like,
that's what I.
It depends, but you know what? It depends, because if there's no crowds, what's the fucking point? True. If there's crowds, if you're allowed crowds, then it should definitely be in the UK. And I don't know the go with UK, what do you call it, restrictions with travel. But if they can get it in another country where they can get crowds, wouldn't you rather go there so then people can just buy tickets and fly there and watch it like in another country and actually be there than having it behind closed doors in the UK? I think I think wherever it needs to be, it has to have fans, and it has to be fans where it has to be a place where the UK fans can go to.
This would be the biggest fight of the century, and it'd be like there'd be 90,000 people there if it was at Wembley. I think it should be like after COVID. In fact, I've got a million different thoughts on it, but I'm not sure. Right, your fighting background, have you done more than boxing? Because I've seen you've got some kickboxing pics, or is it just...
Yeah. I did kickboxing and Muay Thai in my teens, but I'd never fought. I just trained. And then before that, I did karate, which I did for like 8 or 9 years from the age of 5, when I did like all tournaments and things like that with karate. So did a lot of competitions and tournaments in karate. But yeah.
So would you ever?
And then when I went to.
Sorry. Would you ever go into the UFC?
No, fuck no.
Why not?
No. I don't really fancy being kicked in the head or kneed or hugged and rolled around on the ground. To be honest, I'm not that flexible. I think as soon as I get some kind of lock, my body would snap. So, yeah. I'm not really keen on learning a whole 10 different fucking disciplines. You know what I mean? I rather perfect one, which is boxing. I would do bare knuckle boxing. That's what I would do if I was to change. If I was to go anywhere else, it'd be bare knuckle boxing because it's still boxing. And I don't mind a good tear up with no gloves on. I've got some good experience there.
Play. So you've done a lot of street fighting? Well, we're not allowed to talk
Yeah,
about
I've done in my time. Yeah.
And you're back in the day. So,
back in the day, before I realised it gets expensive when you start bashing people up in the street.
And you can't do it anymore. You're a teacher.
No, I can't. No,
exactly.
And I wouldn't anyways.
I know. BKB's big in Britain at the minute. It's booming. But
yeah, well, you make a lot of money for it as well.
Do you? Right. Which sport do you think's safer, boxing or BKB?
Obviously, boxing.
But there's a superstition. There's a thing on this because when the boxer's glove goes in, anyway, for some reason the solid impact on the skull is supposed to be safer than getting punch drunk or whatever. I don't know.
No, I would assume that's more in regards to headgear.
Right, okay.
Yeah, because if you wear headgear, like in the amateurs, they're getting constantly punched in the head because they don't give a fuck about defense. You know what I mean? And it's the same kind of concussions, really. But yeah, I don't know.
When you come to England, then, you haven't said who you want to fight. Do you want to make a statement of who?
I will make a statement.
Right.
Not do I want to? I will make a statement. I'll make a statement across the world, not just in the UK.
Right. Okay. Across UK, America. Do you want to put Ebanie Bridges on the map to say, I am the main event for women's boxing circa 2021?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I have a lot to. No, I don't really have a lot to prove. I mean, I just want to shock the world.
Right.
Pretty girls can fight too. I think people just think because you got fake tits that you can't fight.
Yeah. I know your style's a big thing and everyone's hooked onto it. But do you think you stand out from the crowd from all of the other boxers themselves?
Definitely, of course. Right. And that's why I got so much. That's why I've built such a big following because I'm so different.
I know. I agree. Well, like with Katie Taylor, the way in which she's had an impact on the sport, with your looks, with your intelligence, with your game plan, what do you want to do? What do you want to give back? What do you intend on doing?
Give back as into boxing?
Well, what do you want to be remembered as? What positive impact would you like to?
Well, I'm constantly a believer, and what I spread is be real, be you. That's one of my mottos. Like, doesn't matter who you are, what you do, what you look like, people are going to hate you. And I just think it's really important that people just be themselves. And I want to prove and I want to show that, hey, get away from that stereotype that this is what a female boxer has to look like. This is how a female boxer has to act. And this is, how it has to be. Like, it doesn't have to be like that. And I think maybe me being very successful just shows that, hey, a lot of other girls that might have second guesses about doing it, it might show them, hey, no, actually, she can do it, I can do it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I want to show the new age style of boxing, I suppose, for girls. It's not, there's a lot more to it than just, and there's a lot more to boxing than just boxing. Not everyone has Olympic gold medals, not everyone has that pedigree. And not everyone has it in the pros either, but they're in the men's boxing, but they're still able to be successful. But in the women's, you should still be able to get recognition without it. Like Terry Harper, for example, she's doing really well as well.
Okay. Do you think boxing should be on the national curriculum in schools?
Yeah, I'd love it to be. I teach it at school. I run a boxing program at school.
I know. I looked that up. So how does that tell the audience about that? How does that go?
So once a week, I do a program. We select certain girls to get involved in the program. That depends. It changes all the time, but it goes between the really shy, insecure kind of girls that suffer a lot from anxiety to the girls that are always getting into trouble, getting kicked out of class, getting suspended. Anger management kind of girls, and it just really is. It's just a place for me to teach the girls about self-discipline, respect for themselves and each other, and to learn how to build positive relationships with other women, other girls, and about supporting each other and lifting each other up, not bringing each other down. So, and setting challenges for yourself and learning to have gratitude and not being scared to go out of your comfort zone to do things. So it's just teaching like life skills, but also just them to believe in themselves as well, and get that better self-esteem. Because in schools, especially, you know, like you're looking at you like your 13, 14, 15, 16-year-olds, you know, there's a lot of bullying, and it's like such silly things, you know, that they get bullied for, and it affects them a lot. And I think it's really important that I push that. Just be you. Don't worry about what people say. You know what I mean? Like you have to understand that what someone says of you doesn't make you. Don't let other people make you tell you your worth. You need to know your own worth, and you need to love yourself and be confident in who you are. You know, of course, bullies suck, but unfortunately, they're always going to be fucking there. So we need to build resilience in these girls and confidence so that they can handle life better when it gets, you know, shit gets thrown at them.
So do you think every girl has the right to be able to defend themselves or to be educated so they can't be bullied, kind of like thing?
Yeah, everyone. I mean, I think everyone. You know, obviously we don't want bullies, but it's really important to teach kids to be hard as well. Right. You know what I mean? And have resilience, not just go on, don't cotton wool them either and baby people. That doesn't help anyone. You need to build resilience in people. You need to have resilience because unfortunately your life is going to knock you down that many fucking times. You know, don't matter who you are, you're going to get knocked down. If you don't have resilience and some mental toughness, then it's going to be hard.
Who are your favourite prize fighters if you're going back through the history of boxing? Who stands out to you?
Oh, fuck, there's too many.
Top three.
Obviously Chavez.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Julio Cesar Chavez.
Right.
Probably, I mean, Manny Pacquiao. He's still current though, isn't he? Hagler. I love Hagler.
He's my favourite.
You know, all those, all the, you know, Mexicans, Barrera, Morales. But yeah.
Layla Ali versus Ann Wolf, the dream fight. Who do you think could win that?
Ann Wolf.
That's what I thought as well, because apparently Layla Ali. We have to get some more questions. Povetkin versus Dillian White 2. How do you see that panning out?
I see Dillian stopping him.
You do? He
nearly stopped him in the last fight. I wouldn't say it's a lucky punch. He was setting it up, but I feel like Dillian might go in a little bit more aggressive.
But he hasn't lost in 10 years, Povetkin, so it's still a bit of a 50-50.
Povetkin hasn't lost in 10 years.
Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, he's lost once to Vlad. That's it, yeah, once to Vlad. I know he's lost to AJ as well. No, sorry, he's lost twice.
AJ.
Yeah.
I think there was another one as well, to be honest. But yeah, anyway, maybe it was just those two.
Right. Why do you hate Facebook?
I don't know. Like, I just find it boring. I just feel like it's a bunch of people moaning and complaining. I don't know. So I'm just not into it.
You're just used into the Instagram thing now, then? Because it's like a conversion for me.
I'm more into Twitter. I like Twitter because I can talk boxing and have a banter, have a good banter and stuff. I mean, I can't be on them all. Otherwise, I'd have fucking no time for anything. So I had to be selective. And yeah, I just find Facebook's old, you know, and it's outdated. And I feel like everyone on there is just like angry.
I know. I need to convert it myself, kind of like. Anyway, Ebanie,
I feel like Instagram's the most positive, probably one. Has the least trolls. It's more positive and stuff. But yeah, Facebook and Twitter are a bit more rough. You have to be pretty thick-skinned for Twitter as well.
Yeah, I'm just used to Facebook, but it's like converting it over anyway. Well, Ebanie, thank you very much for your time. Have you got anything else?
You're welcome.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
No, just stay tuned on Blonde Bomber because, you know, I'm definitely going to make some waves this year. You know, I don't quit or nothing, and I'm very confident in what I can do. So yeah, stay tuned and follow the journey, and hopefully I can get there and fight in front of all the British fans one day.
Oh, brilliant. And thank you very much for your time, by the way. And thanks for
All
having patience
good.
with me. It's my first time doing it. So,
I
little
know, it's so good. I popped your cherry.
I know, yeah. Thank you very much.
All good.
Oh,
Have a good one, mate.
all right. See you in a
Bye.
bit.